Nice to see you guys again. Free stars from the moon here. Anyways, so yeah, the title kind of says it all. People really need to get the panties out of the bunch and stop going crazy conspiracy theorists about this whole Nintendo statement. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, the current president of Nintendo, I'm going to try to pronounce his name here now, and I'm definitely going to butcher it. So forgive me for that. Shuntaro Furukawa. Shuntaro Furukawa gave a statement to Nikkei, which I guess is a Japanese magazine or website, and it was translated to English by someone. So there's some people online are like, "Oh, you missed some very important part here." That's because of translation error. But basically, everyone's talking about it. Anyways, so in the interview, the president of Nintendo was asked how Nintendo would innovate in the future. With all their big successes in the past, and he gave an answer, and people are the answer he gave. People are saying what, and they're blowing it out of the park. It's kind of, I don't want to say sensationalized media, but it's kind of basically that. They're taking a statement and blowing it out of the water for clicks. So, the question asked to the president of Nintendo was, have you ever run into an innovation dilemma where the company's past successes were too big, making innovation impossible? Now, I'm going to kind of break this first bit down just to, I'm going to break this down a bit by bit here. So he responded with, we aren't really fixated on our consoles. At the moment, we're offering the uniquely developed Nintendo Switch and its software. And that's what we're basing how we deliver the Nintendo experience on. Now, before we continue, to me, this sounds like his answer was meant to say, we're not really focused, right, on the Wii sold 100 million units, the Game Boy sold this many units, and then he's more saying, we're not really fixated on the consoles, how well they sell, for the developers. We're just fixated on how they're developing the games and putting out the Nintendo experience and keeping our quality of, games high. That's what I'm getting from that first bit of the statement. That he's basically saying, I haven't experienced an innovation dilemma where we're just developing games as we see them. We're developing Mario, no matter how good Sunshine, 64, Galaxy, or Odyssey, or any other Mario games, how well they sold, or blah, blah, blah. We're just, someone's like, oh, I want to do this with Mario, and we're like, okay, here you go. Have fun. Create a good game. Basically, that's what he's saying in that first bit of the statement. That being said, technology changes and will continue to think flexibly about how to deliver the experience as time goes on. It's been 30 years since we started developing consoles. Nintendo's history goes back even farther than that. And through all the struggles that they have faced, the only thing that they thought about was what to make next. In the long term, perhaps our focus as a business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity. So, it should be noted. Does this say? Right, okay, so this does not give the full statement, where I'm reading it from, but basically he said flexibility is just as important as ingenuity, and then basically said, we're looking into more, mobile games where with a continuous stream of revenue, and we're looking into expanding our characters into theme parks and movies, to make Nintendo characters more part of everyday life. In fact, while I talk about this. And so yeah, no, let's just kind of, so let's kind of break down what he said again. So, the first bit was like him basically saying, no, we've never encountered a problem where, like, we just, you know, we're just, and here we go. This may have the okay, here we go. This has more of it. So he also said, so as I said in the first bit I talked about, he's basically saying, no, in my opinion, what I'm reading from that is, no, we're not, we don't experience innovation delays. We just develop the games and try and make good games. We just kind of focus on that. He also said that he's not a professional developer, so he leaves that to, the development teams who know what they're doing. He's not, he's saying, I'm not like Satoru Iwata, he doesn't mention him, but he's basically like saying, yeah, I'm not like Satoru Iwata-san, where basically, I knew developing, so I knew what to do. No, he's saying, I'm not a pro developer, so I'm leaving that to them to handle while I just manage the business side. And he's just wanted, so, he doesn't want, he says, no, there's risk in putting out consoles, and he just wants to develop, so he's just trying to make sure that developers in-house just can focus on making the game and don't have to worry about, oh, are we in budgetary restricts or something like that, which is admirable. So yeah, no, the innovation dilemma, in my opinion, he's just saying, no, we just kind of focus on making the games. So, yeah, no. So the big part that's got everyone in a tizzy is the part that says, at the moment, as technology changes, Nintendo will be flexible about how that experience is delivered, and in the long term, Nintendo could even shift away from home consoles. Furukawa would like to increase the number of smartphone games to help reduce instability thanks to the fluctuations in business performance. He talks about Nintendo's theme park and movie partnerships as another way of bringing Nintendo characters to everyday life and how they likely will have strong synergy. Now, I want to say two things. One, reading the full statement, which I can't seem to find for you, hearing it read to me, what I heard was something that, if I'm being honest, sounds like something the late President Satoru Iwata of Nintendo would say. Because from personal experience, Satoru, from what I always heard of Satoru Iwata, he wanted to, he always took pay cuts. He never, let go of employees because the company didn't perform well. He took pay cuts so that way they could just focus on developing, didn't have to worry about losing their jobs. So the statement basically, more or less says, Nintendo wants to branch out, have more, ways of continuous income, like on their mobile games, through movie partnerships and, in the theme parks. But what I think he kind of basically said this kind of wrong, and that's what gave everyone really a story to sensationalize, is he kind of said Nintendo's could shift away from home consoles. He instantly, he says he would just like to increase the number of smartphone games and stuff like that, and talks about the synergy of all departments. It becomes clear when I hear that what he means is, right now, when you think of Nintendo, you think of their games and their console, and that's it. Like in Japan, they still make trading cards and toys, I believe, in some cases. But yeah, Nintendo's an old company. In fact, they're celebrating their 130th anniversary this year. They were opened in 1889. So, like, they still make, like, some trading cards and some toys, but they're only in, like, Japan. But obviously Nintendo operates worldwide, but in the rest of the world, they only operate in the console market. So I'm hearing is basically him saying, what I want to do as Nintendo is keep the consoles and keep that, and keep the developers to just develop the games and not have to worry about it, and just make sure that the lead heads who know what they're doing, they can develop the games they want, but also to ensure that those are that there's certain discipline, that we are on the same track here. Like, this is where Nintendo used to go. You can do whatever you want in this space, and I'll even allow some things that deviate out of it sometimes. But this is the path we need to flow. But the way he said it kind of gave everyone a scare, or gave the news outlets a way to sensationalize it and make it a scare. But basically, he's more or less just saying Nintendo wants to transition to where we have our games, our console games, we have our consoles, because you have to remember, with the Switch, Nintendo no longer has a home console and a mobile, and a handheld that you take where you go, and then one you play at home. No, you play the Switch at home and you play it on the go. You can grab the Switch and go. So that was once 2 revenue streams that are now 1. Like, Nintendo was in the home console market, but then they was also in the mobile market where, like, for years, they had no one competing against them. And in my opinion, it's totally makes sense for the president of Nintendo to go, yeah, I want to kind of diversify our revenue stream, because the video game market is not immune to crashes or falls in, sales. Hell, most gamers who are decently aware of the history of the gaming industry can tell you about, at least to some extent, the video game crash in 1983, where the whole market just at least here in America and I believe in Europe as well, basically just caved in. The America, where video games were basically created. The first console was made, the Magnavox Odyssey, came from America. The first successful one, the Atari 2600, or Atari VCS if you prefer, was made, built, and sold here in America. And it was sold in Japan as well. Pong was made here. America was the home of the video game system market, and the bottom just dropped out on the console market. And you couldn't sell an Atari 2600 to save your life. You couldn't sell it in a television. Coleco, who made the ColecoVision and the Cabbage Patch Kids, they went bankrupt because of that. Following that. That was one of the big things. The market just crashed. The bottom fell out, and it took Nintendo 2 years later with the NES and a whole bunch of, right moves and lucky chances for the market to get, a bottom again, somewhere to build off of. The NES had a big uphill battle. They couldn't even get it into the into stores. They made a deal with the company who's producing a laser tag and Teddy Ruxpin, where basically they said, for every, for every unit of, our Teddy Ruxpin or Ruxpin, whatever it is, and, laser tag that you want to put on the store, well, you got to buy 500 Nintendos, or else we're not going to sell it to you. You got to put it on the shelves. It was basically somehow they did it, and in fact, it would be like, I think in 86 or 87, the company who made Teddy Ruxpin and that laser tag would actually go under, but Nintendo at that point had its foothold. It was making money, and the console market was back on the spot. But it was basically, Nintendo had to get another company to agree to basically hold a gun to, everyone who wanted to buy it, Teddy Ruxpin, to stock on their shelves. Like, well, you got to buy an NES too, 500 NESs for every one of these, something like that. So it makes complete and total sense to me that, yeah, Nintendo's going, we need to diversify, we need to have, mobile gaming, for phones, we need to have our consoles, we can't just be this one, saying we need to, diversify. And I think just the way he said it, and maybe he said it the right way in Japanese, but how it was translated into English was, not, correct, and didn't get the nuances he gave. But basically, he's just saying we need to, have multiple streams. So if one, so if the market for video game consoles dips, we don't have to lay off like 20% of our staff because, we only have one revenue stream. I want to make sure, the people feel safe and secure. And that's a very admirable thing. Like, if Xbox or Sony, came out with their, their game divisions and said, okay, we're just looking to move, our folks away from just being on consoles to, also on mobile games, on cell phones, and, movie partnerships and other ways to bring in revenue. We'd all be like, oh, okay, so they just want to expand and have more revenue. We'd be a little wary, like, okay, you're not gonna like start making shit games on, or shit consoles, right? But we'd be like, we're gonna just watch, but nothing really to worry about. I think it was just worded wrong here. Nothing to be worried about. Nintendo's not going anywhere. Nintendo has brought this market back, and if they left, that would be really just incredulous. But basically, it's fine. Calm down. Take a breath. Deep. In for your nose. Out for your mouth. There's nothing to worry about. Nintendo's not leaving the game console market. They're just trying to have more revenue so they don't have to worry. Because, who knows, maybe in another 3-4 years, maybe there's going to be another market video game crash, like in 83, in 84. You never know. Hell, I mean, I know like some, like, when the housing market crisis in 08 hit, companies were really affected by that, especially video game companies, because people didn't have money. So, and if there's a bad economy, people can't buy games. And then if they can't buy games, you can't play, you can't make them, you can't pay the developers. And so, it's like, well, we just kind of want to have more revenue streams to come in, And that makes total sense. And I think Nintendo has some great characters and great IPs to do this with. And I think if Nintendo keeps the same level of quality for their mobile games and for their movies and, in the stuff they put in theme parks and stuff like that, and they really take care of their characters, it's going to be completely fine. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because it's been annoying me how everyone's going, oh my god, Nintendo's leaving the games console market. And you know that's not true. You just know it's not true. But anyways, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you stick around for more. Hopefully the January Nintendo Direct gets announced here soon. Until then, well, I'm going to play Kaiserreich. See you guys later.